What'd you eat?
I had a buffalo chicken salad. I told you this is like I've already eaten healthy today. That salad was bomb as fuck. Now, only problem with it is it came with bacon and blue cheese crumbles. I said, hey, X nay on the bacon A and the blue crumble A. Now, take them two bad boys out. Motherfucker was hit.
All right. All right, well, let's do it.
Go ahead.
All right. Welcome, everybody, to the second episode of It's the Breakdown podcast. It is your boy, it is your host, Jay Vibes, and I am here today with a very special guest, my best friend, my homeboy, my brother, Evan. How you doing today, bud?
I'm buzzing
You buzzing?
and I'm good.
So we feeling good. We feeling alright. Well, this is gonna be a very special episode because it's the second episode, and we're gonna talk some sports. We're gonna talk some sports. So, first of all, I want to say, how are you doing with your boxing?
Well, I ain't been boxing in a very long time
Okay.
here, like a few years, but I'm actually gonna start getting back into it here next week, so it's gonna be fun. I'm excited about it. I'm excited. Yeah, I miss the people, but it's a small world when it comes to combat sports, but very fun, very fun.
Yeah, very fun. So, with you being an amateur boxer and all, how do you feel the world of boxing is today? Because you know, back then there was a lot of great fighters. There was a lot. It was actually for sport. Nowadays, it just seems like who can have the bigger draw. So, do you think boxing is still that sport, that hard hitting sport, or is it more of like media and who can gain the most money?
So that's the misconception that people always talk about. Boxing has always been who has the bigger draw. That's what brings in the paychecks. How do you think back in the days like Hitman Hearns, obviously Mike Tyson, their names speak for themselves, and that's what draws people in. That concept of promoting has not changed. It's just elevated nowadays to where there's more versatility. Like you have the YouTube stars and Jake and Logan Paul who have had a couple professional fights and amateur bouts with other YouTube celebrities, and the Nate Robinson fight. It's good for money. It's good like that they're making money doing that. Like I'm not taking anything from them, but it's bad for the sport of boxing because that makes anybody think that they can walk into a gym or walk into a ring and just put the gloves on and fight. That's obviously not how it goes. Like there's a lot of extensive training. It's a complete lifestyle. That's the only thing that I don't like about it that I took pride in. Like when you commit to boxing or any combat sport, whether it's jiu-jitsu, Muay Thai, anything like that, man, even karate, like it's a lifestyle. It's not a hobby. Like it becomes part of your life. So
Okay.
that's kind of what helped me back in the day. That's why I really want to get back into it.
So, how do you feel about, I don't remember which Paul brother it is, going up against Floyd,
Oh, Logan Paul.
Logan Paul?
Man, let me tell you. So, Floyd is the ultimate money man. Okay? He's the ultimate promoter. He's the ultimate, like, Conor McGregor is up there, but he ain't on Floyd's level. He is on a smaller scale, but yeah. So, Floyd's going to do it for the check. He knows he ain't going to lose the fight. He knows he ain't going to go in there. He's top 5 greatest boxers of all time.
Yeah, because
Top
he's
10,
gonna go in there and basically, the way that I see it, how he's gonna go, he's not gonna go like come out punching. He's gonna let you get tired first, and then he's
Bro,
gonna make his move,
not
which is
even,
smart.
You know what I'm saying? Not like it's just his game plan. Like he's not. This is what I'm gonna say. What makes people think that if Manny Pacquiao, arguably one of the greatest boxers of all time, what does and he lost to Floyd like it was obvious, okay? Yeah, he did have some moments, but he lost that fight at best 7 7 rounds easy. He lost 7 rounds easy, man. You can't lose that many rounds, and then the in between rounds, it was still he lost on points or something crazy like that, and he just nobody a YouTube star, nobody from off the street is gonna go in there and whoop Floyd. So they're obviously doing it for the money. They're doing it for the publicity, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's just it does kind of. You don't see people doing that for MMA. You don't see people lining up to go in and fight Conor McGregor just for the hell of it, or Nate Diaz, or Yoel Romero, or Adesanya. You don't see people lining up wanting to call them out. They always call out Floyd. Yeah, they're calling out Conor because he did box him, but he's an MMA fighter.
Yeah.
Y'all are asking him to step in the boxing ring. Why y'all asking him to step in a whole nother sport? So it's even? No, y'all just going after the money. If y'all really want to do it right, go up through the amateur ranks, get you some amateur fights, 10, 20, 30, 5, whatever you want to do. Turn pro, and then start doing that. But don't just come into the sport because you're already famous. You already have a name. You already have some money. And jump into the professional boxing world.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty disrespectful to all the professional boxers. Like there's about 20 or 30 professional boxers that live here in Waco.
Yeah.
And I bet if we ask 10 people, 100 people, they can't name a single one. It's unfortunate, but that's just how it is. Like it is what it is. But I know some really good fighters. I mean, they whoop my ass in sparring all the time. So, yeah. But it's fun. I mean,
Yeah.
but
So what you're saying is, if you had a chance to go up against Logan Paul, you would take it? You would do it?
well, yeah, because we would be technically on the same level. Like,
You heard it, Logan
So-
Paul. He's ready for you. Ready for
anyway,
you.
so this is why I would say this. I want to just go up and fight him, but I would love to spar him. I'd spar anybody. My thing is, I'm not too keen on amateur boxing. I don't want to go pro. At one point, I thought about it, but I was like, I don't have the talent or what it takes to actually make those big bucks like that. I just don't, and I'm gonna be honest about it. I may have the will and the drive and the determination, but you got to have the talent to back it up. And you just got to be real with yourself. But I do like and I do enjoy going into gyms, other people's gyms, and sparring with different folks. It is fun and it's different, There's a good and a bad to sparring people that you spar with every day and, different Joe Schmoes. Or you may go in the gym and end up sparring a 2-time world champ and you didn't even know.
Yeah.
But it happens.
Okay.
But the thing about combat sports is that's something you have to do with pride. That's a pride thing. Whether you swallow your pride or you take good pride in yourself, but it's a humble thing as well.
I got you.
So yeah,
All right.
I would take the fight though.
Yeah, you would.
Yeah, I just spar him, but yeah, it'd be like a fight.
It'd be a
It's
fight.
fun. Yeah, it'd
What
be
do
fun.
You call it knockout, third round?
Hell no, I won't knock him out.
I was talking about him knocking you out.
I'd be fucked up. I mean, he probably, the way I box, he'd get me on the forehead, but I'm gonna push him in the corner. I'm gonna get him on the side of the ropes, and when I get him in the corner, I'm just gonna I'm gonna go for that body. I'm gonna give him that Canelo hook to the body, and then I'm gonna go up top. So, I'll just give him some work. That's all I can say. We'd give each other work.
Mm-hmm. That was going on off of that. Did you watch the Conor McGregor fight?
You talking about last weekend?
Last weekend?
I did. I was very, very shocked by the results. But then again, I wasn't.
I think because you really shouldn't be, because he's been out of action for what, a year or two?
No, he fought Cowboy Cerrone. It was about a year ago. I'm not gonna lie, unfortunately, but I mean he was on a good track to come back and actually start fighting regularly. But then the pandemic started and there was like no fights for 3 months, 4 months at all. So that just prolonged his his comeback. But Dustin Poirier is not a dude that people need to overlook. I mean, I think he only has like 3, maybe 4 losses in 26 fights.
Yeah, that's a bad dude.
That's a lot of experience, man.
Yeah.
I mean, he has almost, I think, the same record as Conor McGregor. The only difference is when Conor was hot and he started beating all these like big names, he kept beating people. Dustin, I don't think has had many more opportunities to prove himself. But I mean, knocking out Conor McGregor in what was it, the second round in like 2 minutes and 6 seconds. I mean, I didn't see it coming, and he knocked that boy out cold. He's asleep. He's asleep.
So, would you say that it was almost similar to the Ronda Rousey fight?
No, not at all. Completely different. So, Ronda, man, like she took what, a year, 2 years off, and no, she took I think 8 months to a year, and her thing was she came in and fought the champion. She just came in and trained whatnot straight off the street and fought a champ. No tune-up fight. No, hey, we're gonna give you the second contender, third contender for the title. They put her up against Amanda Nunes, who had just she was on a hot streak now.
Right.
And she came in like a wrecking ball, and she's still wrecking shop. I mean, Amanda Nunes is on her way to being the greatest UFC champion of all time. Ronda, the reason why she was so big was because she was the first one to do everything that she was doing. Right. Not discrediting her for anything that she's accomplished, but it's just Amanda Nunes is, in my eyes, she's the baddest woman on the planet when it comes to fighting. She's a bad woman, and she just got power, and she's gonna walk through your punches. You ain't gonna walk through hers, and we saw that with Cyborg. She beat the shit out of Cyborg.
Yeah.
Oh man, Cyborg thought she was gonna just walk through her like she did. They fight very similar, and that's the crazy thing about it. Mirror images of each other, but Cyborg just got a little bit too big headed. So I think her pride got in the way of that one.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I don't know. I think when it came to Ronda Rousey, I think she had a almost of a fear of getting back in there. Like she wasn't sure. She didn't want to get knocked out again, obviously. So I think that was still in her mind, and I think that actually played a big part. Versus Conor McGregor, I don't think he really didn't have fear. It's just I think Dustin was more prepared than he was going into that fight. And like I said, they already had one fight before, and I think Dustin learned from his mistakes, and he knew it was gonna happen. So as far as it being, I mean, hopefully they'll have round 3 coming up, since both of them are 1-1.
The only thing is, I think Dustin's the number 2 contender. So honestly, him knocking out the number 4 contender in the second round, that should actually earn Dustin a title shot. So we may not see a third fight until either Dustin gets his title shot or champion loses and then he gets another shot.
Right.
But we won't see that fight until you know, the next championship fight, or Dustin gets another opportunity for a title. Now, the thing about, you know, when you said Dustin was more prepared, I think Dustin's game plan was a lot more orchestrated than McGregor's, because McGregor, he comes in with the same game plan every time. He wants to knock you out.
Right.
Okay, he's a power puncher. You know, he'll play defense, but he thinks he can take a punch off the chin, and there's many of them, and he won't get knocked out. And in many cases, he's been able to do that. But with Dustin, when you're in that situation, you're on the cage, you're back against the wall. You can't be taking shots to the chin consecutively. Like, I don't care who you are,
right.
You're gonna go down. And so, but what led up to that is Dustin kicking the shit out of McGregor's leg. I mean, after the fight, McGregor had to walk on crutches out.
Right.
You know, and that takes a big part in, you know, what Dustin was doing. I sparred Vernon Lewis several times, and one time he gave me just a kick to the inner thigh, exactly where Conor was getting kicked, and he just kicked me once, and it wasn't even heavy. And this shit hurt, man. Like, it was not. And repeatedly doing that, probably 10 kicks, 15 kicks around for 2 rounds, that, man, it's gonna hurt, and it's gonna affect the way you fight.
Yeah.
Even if it don't matter if that leg is on the front side or the back side, especially though if it's on the front, because one, you're gonna keep on taking them kicks. And I think McGregor people were starting to find a way to beat McGregor.
Right.
If they either go take him to the ground or they hit his legs, even if in some of his attacks, you know, you can see little holes, but I think he kind of leaves himself open a little bit to make you think he has him. But, you know, I think he'll bounce back.
Okay.
But in Ronda's case, yeah, I think those are 2 different situations. Ronda came back and fought a champion when she really wasn't ready. McGregor is getting back into it. And he just happened to lose to the number 2 contender in a good little 2-round fight, you know. So, yeah.
Okay. So, yeah, that was a pretty good explanation right there. And hopefully a lot of people, like I said, that's, you know, viewing this, that's watching this, you know, y'all leave a comment, y'all think about, you know, about the fight, and see if you agree with him, if you disagree with him. Like I said, we can break it down and we can talk about it. So moving on from the UFC and from boxing and everything, I want to get into football for a little bit. So it just happened. Matthew Stafford got traded.
Yeah, that's crazy.
What do you think about the trade? Because let's see what each team got. So Detroit got Jared Goff. They got a future 1st round pick, a future 3rd round pick. I'm sure there was another one, and then
they got 2 first round,
2
picks,
first round picks,
two second round. Picks.
Okay, that's what it was. And then versus what the Rams got was just Matthew Stafford. Now, do you feel that was an even trade, or do you feel that the Rams should have gotten more, or they should have gave less?
So this is how I see it. Matthew Stafford is probably, man, top 10 quarterbacks in the league. I can't quite put him in the top 5. Top 10 most def, and he's probably sitting at that, like, number 8, number 7 spot, maybe even number 6.
Yeah.
He's right outside that number 5. Jared Goff, I feel like he ain't necessarily top 10, but he could be top 15
right, on
a good day. But I ain't gonna be biased because I've had Jared Goff on my fantasy team the past 2 years.
I don't even want to talk about
fantasy.
fantasy.
But the thing about fantasy football is I love fantasy football because it just helps me keep up with how players are doing and helps me keep up with football. instead of just having to go to ESPN every day. Oh, look, I actually enjoy interacting with who's doing what on the field. I just like that aspect,
Right.
regardless if I win games or not. But Jared Goff, man, he's too inconsistent for me, way too inconsistent. One game he'll give you 500 passing yards, and then he'll give you 3 games of 150, 200, 210, no touchdowns in any 3 of those games. But he'll throw a pick or 2, and then he'll go off for 3, 4, 5 touchdowns, and that'll last 2 games. But then he'll go back into a slump. So Matthew Stafford, I think you get a lot more consistency out of, and Matthew being that old, he is a lot older than Jared Goff, I believe. I think he's got him beat by 6, 7 years or something. He's been in the league for a little bit.
Yeah.
But I mean, look at Tom Brady, bro. Look at Drew Brees. Look at Peyton. Them guys played into their 40s.
Yeah.
Even Drew Brees is, I think, 39, 40.
Somewhere about that close.
So you know what I'm saying. I think Drew Brees could play another year or 2 at a high level.
Oh yeah, for sure. I always thought Drew Brees, the same as Tom Brady, still had maybe a year or 2 left after this season, because even though I hate to admit it, Tom Brady is the GOAT. He is the GOAT. It's what it is. You see what he's doing with the Bucks versus what he did. And what he did with the Patriots. He literally made both teams. He literally went to another team, and they're going to the Super Bowl.
He's like LeBron, bro. Everywhere they've gone, they've gone to the finals, or they've gone to the championship game.
Yeah.
I mean, there's only, I think, 2 players that can say that have gone to every team that they've played and gone to a championship. But I think the Rams are the real winners, man, in this whole thing, because they gave up some picks, dog, and I think Detroit is actually in a very good spot, with their new coach. I think that's a good starting point for them. I mean, yeah, you lose Matthew Stafford, man. That does suck. I really like Matthew Stafford, and he's a Texas boy.
Right.
I love the Texas players, man.
Right. That's why Mahomes gonna win the Super Bowl. That's just gonna be a good game. But yeah,
be a great game.
Yeah, I'm the same way when it comes to Texas players. I always root for them.
Yeah, I agree.
And we're not gonna talk about fantasy because I don't think I won one game and everything.
That was good. Somebody tried to give you advice, but you want to try to.
Man, look, it was my first and my last year playing.
Man, it ain't. You gonna play next year too. You gonna be like that. You can't, like Aaliyah. At first you don't succeed, brush yourself off and try it again.
So going off of that, so let's stick with the Detroit Lions. The head coach.
I saw that little
that
press conference.
He was animated.
You sound like Coach Ramsey.
Yeah, he did, didn't he? But he was
yeah.
talking about we gonna come up biting people in the knees, taking heads off. I was like, you know what it reminded me of? That game Blitz. The league, that's what it reminded me of, and I was
they was out there playing with no pads. Hell, that was NFL Street. That's
yeah,
what they were doing.
NFL Street. It was like going back to Arena Football League where you just hit them up against the wall.
Yeah,
man.
I like them though. I mean, the only thing is, you ain't gonna be able to judge a coach's success based off of press conference. All that press conference and hee-haw, blue blah, yeah, all that is cool. Come week 1, you gonna start winning some games or what?
Right.
And I think Detroit is starting to get to a point where I think the tide's about to turn for them. Yeah, I really do. I think the tide is really about to turn for them. I don't know what it is, but something good about to happen to them.
Well, I mean, you get in a new head coach who breathes in like a breath of freshness. It's like a new environment almost, so you're excited to go in there and actually try your best. So I really think Detroit is gonna do something. I believe I'm gonna make a bold prediction. Look, they'll
Better
probably
not
be.
be too bold.
No. I'm not gonna go that far. I am gonna say they're gonna make the playoffs. I am gonna say that. I'm gonna go ahead and say your record. I'm going to limb. If they do make the playoffs, it'll probably be a wild card to be 9-7.
I don't even think they go 9-7 this year, brother.
You don't think so?
Nah.
I mean,
Nah, bro, they had. They might go 7-9, but realistically, I see them going 5-11 this next year. But man, I know Addison gonna hate me for that one.
that's why I was trying to be nice.
No, I'm not. I'm gonna be honest. But a lot of people dislike the line. I like the Lions.
I don't know why.
I've always liked the Lions.
Yeah.
I just don't really cheer for them because I don't really care if they win or not. Like, I
Right.
know that sounds bad, but I mean, I like the Lions. I used to play with them on Madden all the time.
Right.
I mean, Stafford and Megatron, boy.
Yeah.
But I see them going 5-11. You say 9-7.
Yeah, I'm saying 9-7.
So that's a corresponding schedule. They lose a lot of close games, year after year after year. Go look on their schedule. Anybody, go look at their schedule for the past 10 years, and I want y'all to count how many games they have lost by 10 points or less.
Mhm.
In the past 10 years, I guarantee you they got like at least 30, 40 losses, maybe 50 losses by 10 points or less. I would put in cash money that they have more 10 or less points, 10 or less lost points by a wide margin in the whole NFL in the past 10 years. I bet cash money.
No.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see what Addison has to say about that.
He ain't gonna be happy.
He's not, especially after he watches this video. But
That's a true fan though, right there, boy. I tell you what, he good. He will cheer
Oh,
his
you
ass
know.
off. One team, and we're gonna dive into college football for this one, but
all right.
poor Michigan, dog. Like I'm growing up, so I have to get this off my chest. Growing up, there was 5 schools that I really either wanted to go to or play football for or just idolized growing up. One was Notre Dame. Notre Dame was actually my first like true love for college football because of the movie Rudy.
Mhm.
And so when I first saw that movie, I was like maybe 6 or 7 years old.
Right.
And I watched it all the time. So like Notre Dame was really all I knew. But in what year was it? I think it was like 96 or 97. I was actually at the game where Baylor beat Texas in I think the late 90s. We stormed the field and everything. It was awesome, and that's kind of what started my love for Baylor.
Right.
But I've always been a hometown kind of guy. But yeah, so Notre Dame, Baylor. I really loved Michigan just because, man, I don't know. It's just Michigan. Like
Yeah, right.
they got history. One of my buddies really, this kid in elementary school, he was a huge Michigan fan, and he had this little Michigan pencil. He had a pencil, and he was like, it's never been used. He took so much pride in it, whatever. I was like, okay, that's pretty cool. So whenever I got NC Dub, I would always pick, Baylor, Notre Dame, Michigan. So I was like, I just, from a young age, I was like, Michigan's pretty cool.
Mhm.
And then I also liked LSU for a long time. I don't know what it was about LSU, but something about the purple and gold. I was just like, they cool.
All right.
Whatever. And Texas. Texas is like my little backup team. Like
Mhm.
I secretly do like them, but not so secret no more. But I mean, I don't know, man. Like it's Texas. It's hard not to cheer for them because they got that Texas across their chest, But
Right.
Baylor and Notre Dame are my two like true loves of college football. Even though Notre Dame's ass and always overrated. Like
Well, it's just I think a lot of people see the history of Notre Dame. Like, for me, I grew up watching Notre Dame only because that was my grandfather's favorite football team, college football team. So, like, for me, it was always Baylor, hometown. It was Louisville because my favorite color is red. So, the first ever college football game I watched was a Louisville game.
That's wild.
Yeah, so it's like,
I knew that.
so I automatically fell in love with Louisville. And like I said, the color scheme, red and black. Texas Longhorns, because my mom, that was her favorite team.
Right.
LSU, yeah, I agree with you. LSU was pretty good. And then, not really a fifth, but it's just only because they always had different uniforms every single year. So Oregon.
Man.
And like, I didn't even go for Oregon. I just wanted to see what uniform they were going to come out in.
Okay, I'm glad you said that. The only reason why Oregon is where they are today as a prestigious football program is because of their uniform selection. Hey, y'all. You 5-star recruit. You look good in this color, that color, this color. Hell, you look good in all these colors. We have a different jersey for every day of practice throughout the year. What do you got to say about that? You can play in whatever you want. Come on. Come sign with us.
Well,
and when you graduate, you get free Nike gear for life. I don't know if that's in a contract, but that'd be pretty cool. But yeah, I like Oregon too. They growing up, like every week, you just want to see what jerseys they was wearing. You just want to see their uniforms. My favorite is the one with the silver feathers.
Yeah, and growing up watching that, I was like, when we were back in high school, I was like, why don't we get it? We got like 4 different colors at Waco High. It was like the scarlet, white, gray, black, and then whatever else they want to throw. I was like, that's 4 different jerseys we could have had.
Yeah, I like the little simplicity of our jerseys. Just that red and white was clean, though.
I always wanted a black jersey. That's really what I wanted.
I did too.
So when we got it in baseball, I was so happy.
Man, that thing was clean.
I was so happy when we got it.
It was. Our baseball uniforms were very icy. They were very clean. But they did our, even though we sucked, what did that photographer say? He said, you look good, you play good. You obviously don't know Waco High baseball, buddy.
I don't even think that is that we were bad. I think we just played around too much.
We did that, and we were bad. No.
But we all grew up playing with each other.
That don't mean a damn bit.
Pause.
Like that. Don't do that. Don't do that.
I gotta throw it in there.
No, you don't. That just throws out the whole podcast. If you're gonna say it, you just gonna say it. You can edit all that out.
I'm gonna leave that in there.
No, you're not.
Yes, I am.
So, my thing is, you got to have the talent to back up the chemistry, and that's a harsh reality that people don't come to terms with. I don't care if y'all been playing together since y'all were 2 years old. Y'all 32 right now. Y'all been playing together for 30 years. If you can't hit a ball as well as I can hit a ball, or vice versa, or if you can't, if your capability in this aspect of the game doesn't benefit or help me, we ain't gonna win games, bro. Like we have to have the capability of beating teams, which is talent. And we just didn't have enough talent. Now, I will say, on any given day, we could beat anybody. And I think we proved that in we had glimpses of that throughout high school, senior year. So, like, I know we had one game against Lorena. I think they're ranked like 16, 18 in the state. And we ended up beating them 12-11. And then we turned around and we played China Spring, who was ranked, they were in the top 10 at that time. We ended up losing them by 3. We had that double header. So that first game we lost by 3. Second game we lost by 1. That second game they had homeboy who went to Baylor. I can't remember his name, but I think he was a right-handed pitcher because I know Robinson had the lefty, and they were like a little rivalry.
Yeah.
And they pitched against each other in the district championship.
Oh,
I know the dude from Robinson was Stallensworth or something like that.
Yeah.
I just can't remember the guy from China Spring, but I remember facing him going up to bat, and that boy was throwing some heat, man. It was like 94, 95 miles per hour. And
I just remember the look on y'all's faces because I'm going to be honest, I don't know how I climbed my way into the baseball team and the football team. I was little, but the look on their faces when that boy threw that fastball was hilarious.
Dog.
I was like,
That was
look,
my first time ever seeing 95 miles per hour, like, from the dugout. Like, and then let alone get at the plate. So that's what sucks about baseball. Man, these coaches, you know, BP is cool and everything, but I only saw 90 miles per hour fastballs
yeah,
a handful of times throughout high school. You have to practice for that. That's not something that you just go up to the plate and be like, all right, I'm gonna hit this. No. The difference is you gotta practice in game situations. So like all this fielding and everything is cool, but when we face a dude that's throwing 85, you know, there wasn't many guys throwing 88, 89. We had a lot of guys throwing mostly probably like low 80s, 85, a couple 86, but very seldom, like very rare, like once a year we had to face a guy throwing in the 90s. And that, I think that's what hurt us. Like, you have to experience those at bats. That's why baseball's so many games.
yeah,
You know, like, that's not the reason, but that's one of the reasons.
Well, I mean, it helps you get more experience playing that many games. So
Exactly.
I get what you're saying. I get that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean,
It was fun though.
It was
I
fun.
mean, we, you know what I'm saying, but
them bus rides home were, yeah. I was-
we're gonna move away from that.
yeah.
But
So,
man, one thing I won't bring up about Notre Dame though, when I said they were overrated and everything, dog. So if like the college football playoff system, it's got to be fixed. There is no way a team with this criteria, they say, loses the week before the college football playoff. They lose to a team that's in the college football playoffs that they already beat, but they lose to them in the conference championship. And they're already ranked the third best team in the country.
right.
They lose, and then you still have a Texas A&M team who lost to the number one team in the nation. Okay, and we all saw how they won the Natty. Texas A&M, in my opinion, put up a way better fight than Ohio State. That's a different argument, but it's really not. Then you got who I really thought could have made a run or could have really been in there. I could be biased, but I would have liked to see Cincinnati in the playoff. And if Iowa State would have beaten Oklahoma, I would have loved to see them in it.
Yeah.
But you know, we got to get away from the top four teams. Like you're not leaving an opportunity for that fifth, that sixth, that seventh, even that eighth team can get in there and make some noise. I think if we had 8 to 10 teams in the playoffs and the top two get a bye, if it's 10 teams, that's great. But it's got to be more than 4. It's got to be 4, no less than 8.
Yeah.
Because 4 is just too. I mean, Alabama's made it every year. Clemson's made it every year. I think Ohio State only missed 1 or 2 years, and it's like, bro, I can't tell if it's just a money thing or if it's just they can't agree on the best system suitable for college football playoff.
Yeah.
And I really do think it's just money based.
So yeah, basically expanding it to the 8-person or 8 team.
Shit.
It's all right. It'll settle up. But yeah, basically expanding it to 8 teams would give more of an opportunity to see more upsets. Same thing as it's with NCAA basketball. You know, you always have the tournament at the end. 64 teams, then 32 teams, and keep going down from there. And it's always leaves room for more upsets to see. I agree with you on that. I I just get tired of saying the same football teams over and over in the championships. But
Yeah.
I get it. It's your recruiting class, and and that's just how it is. So, going on to piggybacking off of that into basketball, into NCAA basketball, have you been keeping up with the Baylor Mans?
I mean, dude, they were undefeated. I mean, they are undefeated, right?
Yeah.
That what was the score today?
They won by 20, or
I
no,
know.
they won by 12, I think.
Bruh, so I tuned in to that Kansas State game earlier this week.
Right?
These sons of bitches was up 41-7 at one point with like 3 minutes or 6 minutes left in the first half, dog. So, as a proud Baylor fan, I can say this with a full heart. Never in my day did I think Baylor men's basketball program would be up in a conference basketball men's game 41-7 at halftime or at any point in one half.
Yeah.
So my thing is like, man, seeing where that program came from and where they're at now, I'm just thankful and I just relish. Like, I don't care if they win a natty or not. I'm just glad that they, get their little 25,
Yeah.
wins. But I do hope they win a natty. I think Scott Drew, what he's done with that program,
Yep.
man, he's got to bring one home. And they've been on the cusp. Whenever he came into the job, he said, look, we're going to be hard on recruiting. We're not just going to recruit anybody.
Mhm.
We have to get those ESPN top 100s, top 50s. If we want to compete at the highest level,
All right.
that's what we got to do. And I've respected him ever since.
Yeah. And going off of that, like, they have a lot of good players. I mean, they're going to be losing like 4 starters, but that's okay because they're people who they have on the bench are quality starters. They can
Yeah.
start. And Baylor has the #1 recruiting class in the nation. So going off of that, it's just like I don't know what changed from last year to this year. Well, they did have a couple of transfers or one transfer.
They did. So that's the thing that Baylor's really been good at the past several years is getting key transfers from junior college or I can't remember the guy's name, but he just transferred from a big university to Baylor. Pierre Jackson was a transfer from junior college from
Yeah.
Las Vegas. One of the best point guards to ever come through Baylor.
Yeah. I know. I think it was. I know one of them. I think it was Davion Mitchell. I know he came from Auburn. I think, and that's the team that they played today.
Okay.
And it was a close game.
Yeah, the SEC. Yeah. SEC. I forgot.
Yeah, it was a close game today, and then like in the second half, like halfway through, they just started tearing it up. And one person that actually been playing good is Meyer, only white boy on the team.
Hey,
he had a
he's
putback.
baller. Okay, so look,
He can shoot.
man, I talked so much shit about that boy last year when we went to that basketball game. I think they were playing Kansas State or somebody, man. I can't remember. I was like, man, this dude is trash. All he is tall, lanky, and he can shoot. I tell you what, man, I think somebody punked his ass out in practice one day or talked some shit. I think, yeah, that had to happen. Like, hey, man, you're gonna have to
Man up.
shit. They talked to his ass in the locker room. Like, stop being a little bitch or something, because he came up and he said, all right, let's ball out. And I forgot I think it was against Iowa State. I looked at them damn stats. That dude had like 21 points, and he made like 4 threes. He was 4 for 5 on threes.
Right.
He had a few blocks. I was like, okay, well, he all right. And ever since then, he been hooping. Wish he put a little bit more weight on him, but
Yeah, I mean he had a nice putback dunk today. It had the bench jumping.
yeah.
It was good. I don't know if they necessarily got onto him. I think more of they helped him build his confidence up. Now for me, when I watch him play, I still think that he tries to do too much when he's dribbling. But for the most part.
Yeah, that could just be his game though. Like
It could be, yeah.
he may want to create that separation because he is one of those awkward like. He could be a tall 2 guard or he could be a small, 4.
Yeah.
But he can play the 2, 3, and 4 positions.
Yep.
But it's just like it's a matchup thing between who's on the other side. But man, yeah, he gonna be pretty good, man. And I think he's only a sophomore, I think, junior.
I think so. I think he's a sophomore or junior.
He came from Houston, I think.
Oh,
5-star.
I didn't know that. I knew he was a 5-star, but I know he came from
high
Houston.
school. I ain't gonna lie. Well,
And I think maybe maybe last year he kind of learned like, okay, I need to, like you said, toughen up. I need to do something, and maybe his teammates helped him build up his confidence.
Right. I think his composure too, man. That has a lot to do with anything you do in whether it's sports or anything. Your composure. So I think he, like last year, I saw him get frustrated with himself a whole lot, but he doesn't do that because, like you said, he has that confidence. So I think,
It's funny because him and Butler right now have a little bet going on to see who can have the most dunks by the end of the season. And so far, Myers winning, even though he's playing probably half the minutes that Butler's playing.
Hey, it's all about what you do.
He can jump though. I'm gonna give it to him. He can jump, and I think, like I said, give him one more year and
He'll be alright.
He's gonna be good. He's gonna be good. I think he'll get drafted, but it'll be in the second round of the NBA if he lives up to what his potential could be.
Yeah, maybe. Maybe.
Because I think he's athletic enough.
All, but man, I don't know. Like nowadays, man, it's like if you ain't averaging no 15 or 12 points, the game has changed so much, and like basketball's moving to like a positionless basketball game.
Yeah.
And like it's just you're gonna have to be able to do it all, no matter how big or tall you are. Like you're gonna eventually have to do it all at every position, because there is no position really. Like, can you make a three? Can you rebound? Can you drive the paint? Can you dish? Can you play defense? Can you guard down low? Can you guard the perimeter? Little things like that, man. It's more of an all-around game, and I don't think he's gonna be suitable for the NBA game. I think he's gonna get ate up, man. He's not a complete overall player like that.
They said that about Dirk, and look what happened to Dirk.
Myers is coming off the bench in college.
But you see who's like in front of him, the people that are in front of him though. Now next year when they graduate and go to the NBA, when some of them go,
I think we're talking too early about Myers being the second round pick in the NBA. When
I'm just saying, give him starting minutes.
He ain't even starting.
Look, give him some starting minutes and let him, because like I said, he's still coming into his own. I'm telling you, he's gonna get that shot down. He's gonna build so much confidence up in himself.
At best, he could be like a role player right now, but he's still got way more development. I ain't gonna say. I really don't want to say like, oh yeah, he's a second round pick, he's a first round pick. He ain't even entered his name in the draft, and he's not done progressing as a player. I don't feel comfortable with giving him like let me wait till his career in college is done. I'll be happy to say, hey, give my opinion, but I don't know. It's just way too early. Way too early.
Oh man, the Baylor and Gonzaga. Only undefeated team, still 16-0. And they were supposed to have that match that never happened because of the positive COVID test. But
Baylor would have won that. Baylor should be the only undefeated team in the nation. Baylor should be the number one team in the nation anyway. But
they're probably going to end up being the two teams that play in the national championship.
Maybe. Gonzaga gets upset every single year, except for when. 2 years ago, 2-3 years ago, when they actually went, and they did it finally. But it took a while. They were one of those teams. They were the team, in my opinion, that like made the Cinderellas cool.
Yeah.
But they for years have been the dominant small school. Just come up short in the playoffs or come up short in the tournament. And I mean, but that's what's crazy about the tournament, man. Like Mercer beat Duke one year. Mercer had to win like 6 of their last 7 or 8 games in the conference just to even make the tournament, and they had to win their conference championship, and then they get the 15 seed and beat freaking Duke. I was at freaking chapter when Virginia lost as number 1 seed. I don't even know who beat them. I forgot who beat them.
I can't remember off the top of my head.
I don't even remember the school. And I watched the game out, and they beat the shit out of Virginia too, man. I think they beat them by a good 12, 16 points.
Yeah.
And then they ass got dumped in the second round. But that was crazy though, man. Like 16 seed finally beat a 1 in the men's basketball. You know, that was really cool. And then Virginia, I think, went pretty far the next year in the tournament.
Yeah. So, you know, I'm glad that we got that out of the way. I have a question that I've been thinking about for the longest. And it, you know, I know we jump around from sport to sport, but, you know, I'll just be thinking of stuff in my head as I go along.
Damn.
So going from you know, college basketball to sort of the NFL and the NBA, are the Chiefs the new Warriors? Are the Chiefs the NFL's version of the Golden State Warriors? Where Golden State, you know, was good for what, about 3 or 4 years, then injury happened. Are the Chiefs going to be good for another year or two before injuries plague them? I'm a Cowboys fan, so I'm going to say this. You know, the Cowboys line was stacked. They were good. What happened when their star player or their starting O-line got injured? People started exposing their weakness. So, going from that, do you think that Kansas City can keep up the pace that they're at, especially signing Mahomes to that 10-year deal?
So, let me say this. So, if you look at the NFL's history, exclude Tom Brady and exclude the Patriots because they kind of scurred this skew. They scurred this stat. So, besides Tom Brady and the Patriots, and besides the Chiefs now making it to their second straight Super Bowl, you know there's only been one other team to make it to 2 straight Super Bowls in the past 10 years. Do you know what team that was? The Seahawks. When they won it, they beat the hell out the Broncos, and the next year they lost to the Patriots. That's why I said we're going to exclude the Patriots. But that's the only team in the past 10 years, past 15 years that made it to 2 straight Super Bowls.
Should have just ran the ball.
So my thing is, I think it's too early to start comparing it. I mean, they just went to their first Super Bowl last year and won it. Like, this is only their second. And I think they're a different kind of dynasty. I'm not going to say they're a dynasty yet. They're a really good organization right now. But to call them a dynasty, you got to win 2 Super Bowls in a row before I can call you a dynasty. Or at least 2 out of 3 before I start, you know, saying the word dynasty. There's only been maybe 2 dynasties in the past 20 years. You could throw, obviously, the Patriots. Like, when you think past 20 years since 2000, what they've done in the playoffs, what they've done in the regular season, and then the Super Bowls to back it up, that's a dynasty. Okay, the only one that can maybe come close is the Steelers since the 2000s because they got 2 Super Bowls. They've also won. They haven't finished a game under 500 since Mike Tomlin's taken over. He's never finished under 500, which is crazy, especially losing Le'Veon Bell and Antonio Brown, and like those are 2 high impact players. But
two players in the Super Bowl.
Exactly. So, yeah, man. I mean, like, I'm gonna wait because there's this every year in the NFL. There's always every year somebody new that wasn't in the playoffs the year before makes the playoffs.
Yeah, that's true.
And that's That is facts. Like, it happens every year. You can go back the past 30 years. It's happened every single year. That's just facts.
Look, all I know is when this pandemic's over, Cowboys Super Bowl. Cowboys Super Bowl. I'm telling you, as soon as the pandemic's over, Cowboys Super Bowl. That's how you know when the
Cowboys
pandemic's
ain't won
over.
the Super Bowl for another 30 years.
I'll say that.
It's gonna it ain't gonna happen for 30 years. At least 10.
I refuse
minimum.
to believe that.
10 minimum.
Even though it's true, I refuse to believe it.
If you know it's true, you kind of believe it because you said it's true. So you kind of know it's like.
Anyways,
true.
let's get off of that subject. I don't even know how we got on that subject.
You brought it up. You brought it up.
You sure I did? I don't remember. I might have to edit that out, me bringing that up. So, but I think, like I said, this Super Bowl, and like I said, next week we'll get more into it.
Mhm.
I'm just going to say that it's going to come down to defense because both offenses on the Bucks and the Chiefs are talented all the way around. From quarterback to running back.
Now, give their defense some credit now because they
No,
both
that's what
play
I'm
some
saying.
defense.
That's what I'm saying. It's going to come down to defense because I know that their offenses can score. It's all about who can contain the other one more. And I'm just hoping it'll be a fun Super Bowl where the score isn't 6-3. Like, it can be not really a super high scoring game, but I want it to be a close game to where it's down to the wire.
I'm gonna be honest. This has the potential to be the highest scoring Super Bowl of all time.
I still want the Chiefs to win.
I want Tom Brady to win one more, just so he can say he's 7-10. You know how ridiculous that is for this man to go to 9 Super Bowls and win 6. He has more Super Bowls than several teams put together. He's been to the Super Bowl more times than a few teams put together.
Yeah.
Several teams put together. Hell, there have been teams that still ain't even made the Super Bowl.
Yeah, that's true.
So it's like, man,
I mean, you got to recognize talent, and that man is talent.
I'm not betting against Tom Brady. Like, when it comes to playoffs, bro, and statistically, he has, 33 playoff victories, and he's beaten 17 different teams. He has he's beaten more different teams with 17 in the playoffs than Joe Montana has playoff wins. Joe Montana has 16 playoff wins. And he's second all time behind Tom Brady with 33. I'm not betting against Tom Brady. So if y'all want to ask who I think is going to win the Super Bowl, there's my answer.
All right.
Tampa Bay.
All right. So, like I said, this is also I'm gonna go jump to another sport, and this is a question that I have on my mind. I'm sure, as well as yours and other people. The Brooklyn Nets.
Ain't no question in my mind.
Like,
what's the question?
Are they good enough to win the finals this year?
Hell no. Well, okay.
I mean,
What do you mean by good enough? Like, they starting 5, they bench, like, or are you asking?
I mean,
or do I think they can win the finals this year?
You think they can? I mean,
Hell
because
no.
they have that big three. I mean, yeah, when Harden got traded, he was him and Durant went off. Kyrie came back and was like, "Uh-oh, I need to give me some of that. I've been gone for too long for personal reasons." And but you see, when he came back, oh my gosh, they started losing. But now they've been on a 4-game win streak, and they've been like scoring on them 4-game win streak.
They've been scoring when they was losing. They lost 2 games straight to the Cavs.
But
And
I'm
they
talking about,
scored
like,
with 130 points, 120 points. That's a lot of points. That's a lot of points to score. They scored 138 points and lost the game.
Yeah, like, what was the score of this last one that they played yesterday? I don't know if you want to look it up on your phone. I know it was I think it was like maybe close. I think maybe they had 137 on it. That's what I'm going to assume. I could be
So
wrong.
what was yesterday?
Friday.
Okay, man. So they scored 147 points.
147 to I think 125.
It was 125.
Yeah.
Good memory.
147 points. I mean, they gave up a lot of points, but 147 points.
Okay, so with that being said, their previous game to the Hawks in overtime, to the Atlanta Hawks, 132-128. And then they beat a depleted Miami Heat team without Jimmy Buckets, 98-85. And the game before that, they also played the Heat, and they lost, and they won 128-124. I'm not impressed one bit by this win streak. I'm not impressed one bit.
I mean, they don't really have that consistency, but do you think it's going to be there?
No.
Or you think they're just going to end up imploding? Like,
man, look.
Because, it's literally 3 people who want the ball.
No. It's not even one. They need the ball. Like, that's what I'm trying to get people to understand. Durant, maybe not Durant, but James Harden and Kyrie Irving need the ball in order to create their own space to be able to score.
Right.
Or at least that's what their game plan is. Now, Kevin Durant can come in and he can be a great contributor by, dishing the rock or taking. You aren't going to be able to double team everybody. So you're going to have to ISO guard every single player on that team. And Kyrie's really great at isolation. James Harden's a really great isolation player. Kevin Durant in his own right is a great isolation player. I prefer to see Kevin Durant score off the ball, whether he's making cuts or coming off screens and hitting threes. I think Kyrie could play really well off the ball. I think all 3 of them could play well off the ball, but it's just my thing is like who's going to be that guy to enforce that, or not even enforce it, but just bring that out of them.
Right.
They are a good team. Don't get me wrong, but they're still going to get knocked out.
For sure.
By the second round of the playoffs.
It's probably going to end up being the Lakers in the finals again, which I'm okay with. I'm okay with it.
Mm-hmm. That's my squad, by the way. Lakers are going to win the whole thing. They're going.
For sure.
They're going to win a three-peat. I don't care what they.
They have a solid all-around team.
Mm-hmm.
So
I agree.
So that's going to be it. So would you say Durant MVP favorite so far?
No.
Still giving it to LeBron?
Bro.
Or are you going to give it to AD?
When we say
I'm gonna give it to Luka.
Valuable player, LeBron should have had like 10 MVPs right now. That's not even that's just minimum. Like at the top of my head, he should have 10 MVPs. Tell me between the years 2000 and I say 11 and 2019, excluding the year where Steph Curry hit like 17,000 3-pointers. No, he hit 431.
Yeah.
Like excluding that year, name me somebody who was better than LeBron.
Oh no, I'm not saying that.
You know what I'm saying? No, I know, but
Yeah.
I'm just saying, like, even sprinkle a couple of between 2003 and 2010 years.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he probably was the best in 2006 when they went to the finals. Like, he was the best player, bro. Like, it is.
Yeah.
The phrase MVP is not what people think. That is a league thing where they need this player to be MVP because it's good for revenue. Or it's good,
for sure.
You know what I'm saying? And I wish that wasn't part of the game.
All sports are like that. It's all about business. All about making money.
But like LeBron should have, out of all seriousness, he should have a minimum 6 to 7
I mean,
MVPs.
the dude's been dominant since forever. So,
Him and Tom Brady are the only ones in their own league, man. Even like Michael Jordan, 6-0 championship game, NBA Finals. Alright, he didn't go to 10 straight though. Like and take a year off from the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
and then win the championship his next year.
Yeah.
Like, come on, man. Get the hell out of here.
And like when it comes to saying who's the GOAT, it really depends on who you grew up watching. Because people will say, "Oh, Michael Jordan's the GOAT," because that's who they grew up watching. People like me, I'd say Kobe Bryant's the GOAT. That's who I grew up watching. And like now of this generation, LeBron's the GOAT. Like it's all about who you grew up with watching.
My thing is, so I grew up watching Kobe. That's the sole reason why
Me
I'm
too.
a Lakers fan.
Me too.
Do I think he was the greatest player of all time? No. Do I think he's top 5? Most definitely. I put him top 3. But I think LeBron is the greatest player of all time. When you say player, we're not talking about legacy. We're not talking about accolades. We're talking about the best player that puts your team in a position to win. You know, people are going to argue and say, well, Michael Jordan will just go out and win you the game. That's pretty easy when you have another guy who's considerably top 15 player of all time. Yeah. LeBron has never had a guy of Scott Pippen's caliber. Dwayne Wade might be the 5th best, 6th best shooting guard of all time.
So you wouldn't say AD isn't that to him right now?
No, like not at all. AD is not a top 15 player of all time. What makes
you said top 15 player of all time?
That's what I'm saying. Like,
that's what you're going with.
The top 15 player of all time.
Okay, I got you.
Because he was an all-around player. The only thing is Jordan was the go-to, and he was, but defensively, man, Scotty was probably top 5. Then that has a lot to do with Michael Jordan scoring. Say what y'all want, it's real easy to score in transition when you play hella defense. But also that's why Jordan was so good. He played hella good defense. Yeah. But that's why Kobe was so good. He played great on both sides of the ball. I prefer to watch Kobe more so than any other player. The only other player that comes close to me is LeBron and Russell Westbrook. Russell Westbrook is the next closest thing that I love to watch play. At least OKC Westbrook.
He's selfish though.
No, he's not. He is not selfish. His thing is
not selfish in a way like that. I mean, he's almost hard to, I guess, play with.
But he's not though. So man, you don't average a triple-double because you're hard to play with for 2 years in a row. How you think he's getting them 10 assists? He's dishing the rock. But my thing is about Westbrook is he's like Kobe in a sense where his drive to win is so competitive and so borderline psychopathic. He don't know when to stop, and just step back and smell the roses, or just take a step back and let your foot off the pedal. Westbrook just needs to slow the game down instead of just...
But he wants to be the man. And that's where I think when you have somebody else with him, but when you have somebody else like, say, a Durant or a Harden next to him who also want to be the man, you can't just have two people. You got to let your ego go aside. And I'm not saying that Westbrook is doing that. I'm just saying like you said, his competitiveness. He wants to be the guy of the team. He doesn't want to be second fiddle. He doesn't want to be the sidekick.
He just wants to win.
Yeah.
I don't even think it's about him being the guy or second fiddle. He just wants to fucking win. If you've listened to the comments that his teammates have said about him, every single one of them don't have a single bad thing to say. They all love him to death. And Ernest Cantor was on Colin Cowherd, I think 2 years ago. He said he was the best. Russell was the best teammate that he ever had. Steve Adams said the same thing. Victor Oladipo said the same thing. And you don't. People don't say things about you like that because of the way you're playing on the court or anything like that. They say that because of your character and how you treat them off the court and everything like that. Now, taking that to the court, like I said, and I'm stand by, Russ just needs to take his foot off the gas sometimes and slow the game down or slow himself down. It's just his capability is so high and he believes in himself. I don't think and I know what you mean by being selfish. I don't think he's being selfish in a sense of he wants to be the guy. I think he's being selfish and he doesn't know when to turn that shit off. So I do agree with you in like being selfish, but he just don't know when to turn that shit off.
Yeah.
But that's just not his fault because
it's the case of him.
He just wants to win.
It's the case of him wanting to win, so he's kind of doing more than what he should be doing. Like he should be, like you said, taking a step back, taking a breather, and just like focusing and getting his game plan together when he goes down the court.
He just don't make the right decision every time. I mean, and
he's more gung ho.
There's only one player that makes the right decision almost every time. That's LeBron.
Yeah.
But that's why I give him MVP every year until someone else proves me otherwise. Like Giannis is really close to actually earning that MVP. He should not have gotten it last year. The year before, maybe, yeah. But last year, nah, man. That should have went to LeBron. But there's also been years where Kobe should have won a damn MVP. Many years. And people are going to argue with me saying, well, what years? Okay. We're going to say that for another
argue with them.
Yeah. Argue very. Like,
put it in the comments. Argue with him.
I will forever defend that.
I'll record it.
Kobe should have had at least 5 MVPs. 5.
What? Yeah.
Besides the year where he dropped 81.
Yeah.
And averaged 30 points a game. And that's the thing about Kobe's era, man. And I know we going a little off subject, but that's okay. Kobe grew up and played in the early 2000s. The defense was they were letting them boys play, and they were actually playing zone. It was a good combination of playing zone defense, playing physical, and actually implementing a defense to stop a particular player.
Yeah.
Like, to me, that was the golden age of defense. Because they were actually letting them play, and you could play the zone. And Jordan's time, you couldn't play zone. So it was ISO every single play. How good do you think Kobe Bryant, Steph Curry, LeBron James would be, Dirk Nowitzki would be, if all they had to do was play ISO every single game? Kobe, for one, would probably average 45 points a game. Although he would probably shoot the ball 50 times a game. That's just Kobe.
Yeah.
LeBron, I don't think he would average... I don't think his averages would be much different because he's a different player. Steph, that boy...
He's a shooter.
He don't give a damn. He gonna pull that...
He gonna pull it from wherever.
He gonna pull that ball up in front of your face and hit it, and... He gonna steal your lunch money and then buy lunch with your lunch money and eat right in front of your face. That's what he does, man. I love Steph. I love his game of basketball. Like he's changed the game, and he ain't. What's funny is Steph changed it into just going out
a fun game. Yeah,
like
he made it because he's like a kid when he's on the court. He makes it fun.
Exactly.
So
that's why I love basketball. Man.
So
it's a great league.
Oh, it is, and I really think because my uncles were basketball players, I really think I should have stuck to basketball and had them teach me. Even though I'm like 5'8", I would have at least been able to shoot a ball.
Yeah.
So, now don't get me wrong, I can make most of my buckets. I'm just saying, like, be able to actually shoot a ball.
I don't miss.
We're gonna see about that.
I don't miss.
And we got a basketball court here at the apartments. We can shoot, or a basketball goal. I wouldn't say court.
Dunking on you.
Okay.
Wait till I get down to 205. I'm dunking on you, son.
So we'll see y'all next time on the It's the Breakdown podcast. Y'all have a good night.